Welcome to the Emma podcast. I'm Anna, and today I'm joined by Eric.
Today, we're talking about something that plays a critical role in how life sciences organizations actually execute their strategies, but it's not always discussed openly. We're talking about consulting and strategic support across regulatory, quality, and operational functions.
The life sciences industry is moving quickly. Pipelines are expanding, regulatory expectations are evolving, and manufacturing environments are becoming more complex. At the same time, companies are operating with lean internal teams that are responsible for an enormous amount of work.
That creates an interesting challenge.
Organizations still need to prepare regulatory submissions, maintain compliant quality systems, validate equipment and processes, and ensure manufacturing readiness. All of that work requires specialized expertise, and it often needs to happen on tight timelines.
But not every company has the capacity or the need to maintain large permanent teams across every specialty area.
And that's where consulting support becomes valuable.
Consulting in life sciences is not just about external advice. In many cases, it's about bringing in experienced professionals who have already navigated similar regulatory and operational challenges and can help organizations move forward more efficiently.
For example, a company preparing for a regulatory submission might need additional regulatory strategy support, technical writing expertise, or quality system review. A manufacturing organization might be preparing for an FDA inspection or scaling production for commercialization.
In both situations, the work is complex and time sensitive.
Consulting teams can provide targeted expertise that helps internal teams focus on execution without slowing progress.
Another factor driving the need for consulting support is the increasing specialization of the industry.
Today's development programs often involve advanced therapies, biologics, complex medical devices, and global regulatory pathways. Each of those areas requires deep technical and regulatory understanding.
It's not always realistic for organizations to maintain permanent teams with expertise across every domain. Instead, companies often bring in consultants who can support specific initiatives, guide strategic decisions, or help manage complex projects.
From Emma's perspective, the goal is not simply to advise from the outside.
Effective consulting means working closely with client teams, understanding their operational environment, and helping them execute in a way that aligns with regulatory expectations and long-term business goals.
Sometimes that involves strategy and planning. Other times it involves hands on support in areas like validation, regulatory documentation, or quality remediation.
In many cases, it's a combination of both.
There is also a timing aspect to this conversation.
Life sciences companies operate in cycles. Workloads increase dramatically during certain phases of development, regulatory preparation, or manufacturing expansion. At other times, teams may focus on maintaining steady operations.
Consulting support allows organizations to respond to those fluctuations without permanently restructuring internal teams.
That flexibility can be particularly important during periods of rapid growth or major operational change.
Another point worth highlighting is the role of external perspective.
Internal teams are deeply familiar with their own processes and systems, which is a strength. But sometimes that familiarity can make it difficult to identify areas where improvement is possible.
Consultants who work across multiple organizations often bring insight into best practices, emerging regulatory trends, and operational strategies that have been successful in other environments.
That perspective can help organizations solve problems faster or avoid challenges before they become significant.
At the same time, successful consulting relationships depend on collaboration.
External experts should never feel disconnected from the teams they support. The most effective engagements occur when consultants integrate with internal teams, understand organizational priorities, and contribute in a way that strengthens overall capability.
Ultimately, consulting and strategic staffing support exist for one primary reason: helping organizations deliver critical work successfully.
Whether that involves preparing for inspections, accelerating regulatory submissions, strengthening quality systems, or expanding manufacturing operations, the goal is always execution.
In this episode, we're going to explore how consulting support is evolving across the life sciences industry, how organizations decide when external expertise is needed, and how flexible support models can help companies maintain momentum while navigating increasingly complex regulatory environments.
Because in a highly regulated industry, having access to the right expertise at the right moment can make a significant difference in how quickly and effectively organizations move forward.
One of the most important aspects of consulting support in life sciences is timing.
Organizations often reach moments where the complexity of the work increases faster than internal resources can realistically expand. That might happen when a product moves into late stage development, when manufacturing capacity needs to scale quickly, or when regulatory expectations shift.
These moments require expertise, but they also require speed.
Hiring and onboarding permanent staff can take months. In contrast, consulting teams can often step in quickly, helping organizations maintain progress during critical phases of development or commercialization.
But speed alone is not the primary value.
The real value comes from experience.
Consultants who have worked across multiple companies and programs often bring a broad understanding of how different organizations approach similar challenges. They have seen regulatory submissions succeed and fail. They have participated in inspections across different regions. They understand where common bottlenecks appear and how teams can navigate them more efficiently. Um,
That experience can help internal teams make better decisions earlier.
Another reason consulting support has become more common is the increasing complexity of regulatory environments.
Global development programs now involve multiple regulatory authorities, evolving guidance documents, and more sophisticated data expectations. Companies must manage regulatory strategy across different regions while maintaining consistency in documentation, quality systems, and operational controls.
That level of coordination can be challenging, particularly for smaller organizations that are expanding rapidly.
Consulting teams can help bridge those gaps by providing regulatory expertise and helping internal teams structure their approach more effectively.
There is also an operational component to this.
Consultants often work closely with client teams to support project execution. This might involve helping coordinate validation activities, assisting with regulatory documentation, supporting quality system improvements, or preparing teams for upcoming inspections.
In these cases, the work is not purely advisory, it becomes part of the day to day effort required to move projects forward.
And that collaborative model tends to work best when consultants are integrated into the broader team.
When external experts understand the organization's priorities and operating environment, they can contribute more effectively and help ensure that projects remain aligned with both regulatory expectations and business goals.
Another factor that organizations often consider is flexibility.
Life sciences development rarely follows a perfectly predictable timeline. Programs accelerate, regulatory feedback introduces new requirements, and manufacturing plans may shift as products move closer to commercialization.
Consulting support allows organizations to adapt to those changes without needing to restructure their internal teams every time priorities shift.
Teams can scale resources up during periods of intense activity and scale them back once milestones are achieved.
That flexibility helps organizations maintain focus on their long term strategy while still responding to immediate operational demands.
There is also a cultural aspect to consulting relationships that is sometimes overlooked.
Successful engagements are built on trust and collaboration. Internal teams need to feel confident that consultants understand their objectives and respect the organization's internal expertise.
The goal is never to replace internal knowledge. Instead, it is to complement it.
Consultants bring additional capacity and perspective, while internal teams provide institutional knowledge and long term continuity.
When those elements work together effectively, organizations often find that projects move more smoothly and decisions become easier to navigate.
Another important benefit is knowledge sharing.
Consultants frequently bring insights from across the industry. They may be familiar with emerging regulatory trends, new technologies, or operational strategies that have been implemented successfully in other environments.
When that knowledge is shared with internal teams, it can strengthen the organization beyond the immediate project.
Over time, those interactions contribute to stronger internal capabilities and a deeper understanding of how the broader industry is evolving.
Ultimately, consulting and strategic staffing support exist to help organizations execute complex work with greater confidence.
Whether the challenge involves regulatory preparation, manufacturing expansion, quality system improvement, or large scale project coordination, external expertise can provide both momentum and clarity.
The key is ensuring that consulting relationships are structured thoughtfully, with clear objectives and strong collaboration between internal and external teams.
In the next part of the conversation, we'll look more closely at how organizations determine when consulting support is most valuable and how the right balance between internal capability and external expertise can help companies navigate complex regulatory and operational environments.
Another important consideration in consulting and staffing support is how organizations decide when external expertise is actually needed.
In many cases, companies initially try to handle everything internally. That instinct makes sense. Internal teams know the organization, understand its systems, and are responsible for long term operational stability.
But there are moments when the scope or pace of work exceeds what those teams can realistically manage.
This often happens during major transitions. For example, when a company moves from early development into late stage trials, the regulatory workload increases significantly. Documentation becomes more detailed, submission timelines become tighter, and coordination across teams becomes more complex.
Similarly, when manufacturing operations begin scaling toward commercialization, validation activities, quality oversight, and regulatory readiness all require additional attention.
These are moments when organizations often benefit from bringing in additional expertise.
Consulting support allows teams to move forward without overextending their internal resources. Instead of asking existing staff to absorb an unsustainable workload, companies can bring in experienced professionals who are familiar with similar projects and can contribute immediately.
Another common situation involves regulatory remediation.
If a company receives inspection findings or identifies gaps within its quality system, addressing those issues quickly and effectively becomes a priority. Internal teams may already be managing day-to-day operations, which makes it difficult to dedicate the necessary time and focus to remediation efforts.
Consultants with experience in quality system improvements and regulatory compliance can help organizations structure corrective actions, strengthen documentation practices, and prepare for follow up inspections.
In these cases, the goal is not simply to resolve the immediate issue. It is to ensure that the organization emerges with stronger systems and clearer processes moving forward.
Project based initiatives also drive the need for consulting support.
Large-scale projects such as facility expansions, technology transfers, or global regulatory submissions often require coordination across multiple functions. Regulatory teams, quality teams, engineering groups, and operations leaders must work together under tight timelines.
Consultants can help facilitate that coordination.
Because they often work across different functions and organizations, they can help align priorities, maintain project momentum, and ensure that key milestones are met.
This type of support becomes especially valuable when organizations are navigating unfamiliar territory.
For example, a company launching its first commercial product will face different regulatory and operational challenges than it did during earlier development stages. The scale of manufacturing changes, supply chains become more complex, and regulatory oversight intensifies.
Consulting support during this phase can help organizations anticipate those changes and prepare accordingly.
There is also an efficiency component.
Consultants often bring structured methodologies and practical tools that help teams organize work more effectively. Whether it is developing submission timelines, designing validation protocols, or improving quality system workflows.
Instead of starting from scratch, organizations can build on established approaches that have been applied successfully in other settings.
At the same time, it is important for consulting relationships to remain collaborative.
External experts should never operate in isolation from the teams they support. The most productive engagements occur when consultants work closely with internal staff, sharing knowledge, and ensuring that improvements can be sustained after the project is complete.
This collaboration strengthens the organization in the long term.
Internal teams gain exposure to new approaches and perspectives, while consultants gain a deeper understanding of the organization's culture and priorities.
When those relationships function well, the outcome is not only successful project delivery, but also stronger internal capability.
As the life sciences industry continues to evolve, consulting and flexible staffing models are likely to remain an important part of how organizations manage complexity.
Regulatory environments will continue to change, development pipelines will expand, manufacturing technologies will advance.
No single organization can maintain permanent expertise in every specialty area.
Consulting support provides a practical way to access that expertise when it is needed most, while allowing internal teams to remain focused on their core responsibilities.
Now, we'll take a step back and look at how consulting partnerships are evolving across the industry and why organizations increasingly view them as long term strategic relationships rather than short term solutions.
Another way to think about consulting support is through the lens of strategic partnership rather than temporary assistance.
In the past, consulting engagements were often tied to very specific events. A company might bring in consultants to prepare for an inspection, complete a submission, or resolve a compliance gap. Once that task was finished, the relationship ended.
Today, the model is becoming more collaborative and continuous.
Organizations are recognizing that external experts can contribute not only during moments of crisis or peak workload, but also during planning and growth phases. When consultants understand an organization's long term goals, they are better positioned to support decisions that shape the future rather than simply address immediate challenges.
For example, when a company is expanding manufacturing capacity or preparing a new facility for operation, consulting teams can help structure validation plans, align engineering timelines with regulatory expectations, and ensure that quality systems are prepared for inspection readiness.
By participating early in the planning process, consultants help prevent issues that might otherwise emerge later.
This proactive approach is becoming more common across the industry.
Companies are increasingly focused on building resilient systems rather than reacting to problems after they occur. Consulting support can contribute to that effort by helping organizations evaluate processes, identify potential gaps, and strengthen operational frameworks before regulatory pressure appears.
Another area where consulting partnerships are evolving is knowledge transfer.
The most effective engagements do not simply deliver a completed project. They leave the organization stronger than before. Consultants share methodologies, documentation practices, and operational insights that internal teams can continue applying after the engagement ends.
This exchange of knowledge helps organizations develop internal capability while still benefiting from external perspective.
It also supports continuity.
Internal teams remain responsible for long term operations, but they gain additional tools and experience that allow them to manage complex projects more effectively in the future.
The relationship becomes less transactional and more developmental.
Industry collaboration also plays a role in this evolution.
Consultants often work across multiple companies and regulatory environments. Through that exposure, they gain insight into emerging regulatory expectations, evolving best practices, and new operational approaches being implemented across the sector.
When those insights are shared responsibly with client teams, they provide valuable context. Organizations gain visibility into broader industry trends without needing to experience every challenge directly themselves.
This broader perspective can be particularly helpful when organizations are navigating unfamiliar situations.
Launching a first product, entering a new regulatory region, implementing new manufacturing technologies, or restructuring quality systems all involve decisions that benefit from experienced guidance.
Consulting support can help organizations approach those decisions with greater confidence and clarity.
There is also an element of resource balance to consider.
Maintaining a large permanent workforce across every specialty area can be inefficient, especially in an industry where project intensity fluctuates. Consulting partnerships allow organizations to access specialized expertise when needed while maintaining a focused internal structure.
That balance supports both agility and sustainability.
Internal teams retain ownership of strategy and operations, while consultants provide targeted expertise that helps deliver key milestones.
As life sciences development continues to accelerate, this balance becomes increasingly important.
Organizations must navigate complex regulatory pathways, manage sophisticated manufacturing technologies, and deliver products to patients efficiently and safely.
Achieving those goals requires both internal strength and external collaboration.
Consulting support plays a role in connecting those two elements.
When structured thoughtfully, these partnerships provide organizations with additional perspective, capacity, and expertise without disrupting internal operations.
They help teams move forward during critical phases of development while strengthening the systems that support long term success.
Ultimately, consulting and strategic staffing are tools that enable execution.
They allow organizations to focus on their mission while ensuring that complex regulatory and operational work is supported by the right expertise at the right time.
In the final part of our conversation, we'll reflect on how organizations can approach consulting relationships strategically and how the right partnership model can support both immediate project success and long term operational growth.
As we wrap up this discussion, it's helpful to step back and consider what consulting and strategic staffing really represent in today's life sciences environment.
At its core, the industry is built around expertise. Developing therapies, manufacturing complex products, and navigating regulatory pathways all require deep technical knowledge and disciplined execution.
No single organization can maintain permanent expertise across every area of the industry. The pace of scientific innovation and regulatory change simply moves too quickly.
Consulting partnerships exist to bridge that gap.
They allow organizations to access specialized experience when it matters most. Whether the need involves regulatory strategy, validation support, quality system improvements, or large scale project coordination, the goal is always the same: helping teams move forward with confidence.
But the most effective consulting relationships go beyond simply filling resource gaps.
They focus on collaboration, knowledge sharing, and long term capability building. When consultants work closely with internal teams, they contribute not only to the success of individual projects, but also to the strength of the organization's systems and processes.
That collaborative approach benefits everyone involved.
Internal teams maintain ownership of strategy and operations while gaining additional perspective and support. Consultants contribute experience from across the industry while aligning their work with the client's goals and priorities.
Together, those efforts help organizations navigate complex regulatory environments and deliver critical work successfully.
Looking ahead, consulting and flexible staffing models will likely continue to evolve as the industry grows more complex.
Development programs will involve new technologies and advanced therapies. Manufacturing environments will become more sophisticated. Regulatory expectations will continue to expand across global markets.
Organizations that maintain strong internal teams while building thoughtful external partnerships will be best positioned to navigate that complexity.
Because in an industry where timelines are tight and expertise matters, having access to the right support at the right time can make a meaningful difference.
And when consulting partnerships are built on trust, collaboration, and shared goals, they become a powerful tool for helping organizations move forward and deliver results that ultimately benefit patients around the world.
Thank you for joining us for today's deep dive. If your organization needs support preparing for remote inspections, enhancing your risk based regulatory strategy, or modernizing your quality systems, Emma International is here to help. You can reach us anytime at info@emmainternational.com or visit us at emmainternational.com.
Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and Spotify so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay innovative.